Good morning, everybody. So let us start our lecture today just by reviewing as usual as I do. So what we were discussing? We were discussing class and object, right? Two important features of object-oriented programming and object-oriented software design. Actually, I moved my programs into a package called package.doc. You get my GitHub project. So what we have learned so far? What is a class? A class is a user-defined data type that contains two things. One, some variables and some in order to access those variables, right? Here, these are the variables of my doc class, and these are the functions. For instance, move, make sound. These are the functions. Okay. So, in other words, the class is a class, a template or a blueprint of an object. How our object will look like, we define that through our class, right? A class is a user-defined data type. Okay, then what is an object? An object is an instance of a class. Okay, for in real life, an object is an entity. Okay, for instance, this computer is an object, laptop is an object, chair is an object, a table is an object. As a human being, I am an object, you are objects. Building is an object, this planet is an object, the whole universe is an object, right? Sometimes two or more objects are combined together to build, to make a larger object. Okay, this is what was in our last lecture, and then we also discussed constructor, right? What is a constructor? A constructor is a method. By the way, a method, what is a method? A method, when we define some function, a function in a class, inside a class, then that function is called a method. That is a kind of function, okay? When a person goes to school and study and appears in it, that person is called a student, right? Like when a method is defined with class, then that method is called, when a function is defined within a class, then that function is called a method. Or a behavior, what does a method do? A method represents the behavior or functionality of an object. And these variables in a class, these are called attributes or fields. This whole data, actual data for object, right? Okay, so then what is, we discuss also constructor. A constructor is a method of a class that has exactly same name of its class name, right? How do I know that this is a constructor? Whenever this is inside the class, and it has a name exactly same name. If I say dog d in lowercase, then this dog is not a constructor. In order to be a constructor, it must be exactly same. So what do we do through constructor? Through constructor, we construct an object. What do you mean by construct? We assign values to the attribute of an object. Okay, so if a class does not have a constructor, then by default it contains it. We think that it has an empty constructor, default constructor. Okay, but whenever we put explicit constructor, then that we know that this constructor is there. And how do we call a constructor? A constructor is called only at the time we create an instance, create an object, not at any other time. Okay. So when we create an object, we call or invoke this constructor. You see that it's called over here. We call a constructor implicitly, not directly, indirectly. Okay. So here in this case, default or empty constructor is called, but here in this case, this specific constructor is called. That is taking one string argument, another integer argument, another boolean argument, another string argument, another maybe float or integer argument. Okay, we know that a class can contain multiple constructors, right? That means constructors or a class can contain multiple methods, okay, but these methods must be different in terms of their actually same name is same, but these will be different in terms of their argument type, what type of arguments it has, or how many numbers of arguments it has. Can you please turn off your phone? Yes. Upside down, yes. Put it upside down. Yes, thank you. So what is called that we said that a class can have multiple constructors or multiple methods. Okay, this is called method overloading or constructor overloading. Okay, the actual constructor will be called based on the parameter we pass when we call the constructor. This class has two constructors, one this one, another is this. Okay, we discussed this so far in our last few lectures, and today we will discuss another important feature. So everybody please give attention and close your devices. Okay, next 20 minutes. Okay, first of all we want to focus on access modifier. Okay, in Java there are 4 access modifiers. Actually there are 3 access modifiers. One is default, another is public, next one is private, and another one is protected. Okay, so public, private, protected, these are keywords. All should be written, must be written in lowercase in all languages. But default is not a keyword. If you do not have anything in front, then that is default. So here I have default. This name is default, and then age is default, string is default, color is default, all are default, but these public. Okay, in order to make public or private or protected, we need explicitly mention the keyword, either it is public or private. But if in Java we do not use any access modifier, then that is called default modifier. Default modifier is something, if an attribute has default modifier, and that is accessible within the package or within the project, within the package. So what is meant by within the package? So far we did not, this is a package actually. Or in another word I can say, if I have some default property, all of my family members will know it, will be able to. And if I have some property that is public, so if I do not do anything, then that is default. And if I have public, then everybody can see this property and can use this property, can change this value. My friend, family members, my other people, my enemy, or anyone. Okay. Keeping members as public is something dangerous, right? We don't like that our some of our properties or some of our like attributes or anything, even information will everybody, but we like something. For instance, people know our name, our credits or something, but we don't like that people know my credit card number, people know my social security number, right? So we do handle like those kind of attributes, like those are that we like to maintain. For those we like to maintain privacy. For instance, for our social security number, we handle those property in a secure manner, in a different way, right? Excuse me. Yeah, can you please tell him to? Yes. You can do that later, okay? Okay, for instance, remember that when you came to take admission to Kansas State University, your social security card is private, something, right? You do not tell your social security number to anyone else. But when you came here to get admission, you had to give that social security number to a person, an admission representative or someone, right? But you gave this in secure manner. You know that that person was trust. So you trusted them and then you gave him, right? Or her. In a secure manner, we get this, right? For instance, if you go to buy a property or want to do a bank, open a banking account, you need your social security number, maybe other bank information, other thing. But we handle those information secure manner. In object-oriented programming, we do also this using secure manner. So that in object-oriented concept, we tell the and this is called using getter and setter method. In some places you will hear the word accessor or mutator. Okay, so we will learn getter and now. So for instance, you see that my program is running now. Everything is okay. So if I run it will give me expected result. Okay. If I want to make, okay, if I make my dog name is a secret name. So then if I make it private, so then I cannot use this. I cannot use this way. You see that as soon as I made my dog private, initially it was default, then my program was okay, there is no error. Give attention, look at that. There is no error, but as soon as I made it private, and you see that there is an error. It's called cross, red cross. That means it is making an error. So what is that error? Let us see that error. The error is on this line. Okay. So since my name property of my dog class is private, so I cannot use this way and openly. This is a public way or open way. Not use this way. So in order to do that, I need to access this name in a secure manner. What is that secure manner? I need to make getter and setter for my private instance. So how do I make getter and setter? Using Eclipse or NetBeans or other IDE, it is easy to make getter and setter. Okay, you right click and then click on source, then all the way left down you generate getter and setter. And then when you see generate getter and setter, you see that these are the fields, all of it is showing me all of the fields that do not have getter and setter. For instance, let me do for the name, we want to make it getter and setter. So let me select getter and setter. So as soon as I create, we want to keep as is. Usually getter and setter are public unless it is a different design like singleton. For a singleton class, we can make getter and setter private. You will in your software engineering course if you learn more. If you study software engineering in your maybe in your third year or senior year. Until then, let us make it private. So if we once we click generate private, then you see that look at. As soon as I click generate, it creates getter and setter method by default. So let us understand getter method. Once we understand how to create getter and setter method for name variable or name field, we will be able to understand or able to create getter and setter for any of this field. Okay. So usually a setter method is used to set or assign value for a field. Okay. So setter method, all setter methods. So you see the name, how the name is selected, set, and then n, it becomes an uppercase. Set name, and it takes an argument, string type argument. Why it is taking string type argument? Because my string name is string type. So automatically it has generated string name, and it is setting up this dot name equal to name. I provide name here. When I call this setter method, that name will be assigned to this name field. Because use of this operator. Okay, and what does the getter method do? Getter method helps us to get the value what we set through the setter. Okay, so getter method helps us to get the method. Getter method returns a value. But you see that setter method does not return a value, so it has return type void. How do you it is confusing sometimes for programmers. It is confusing which one is getter method or which one is setter method. How to write getter method or how to write setter method. So I usually remember this way. I remember this way get method. Usually it's called getter, Getter. Okay, I remember this way. So getter method, then go getter, then come back from here for this last three letters. Read aloud, reverse R-E-T. See R-E-T. So getter method returns. RET, I got RET just by reverse order of this RET. Getter method returns a value. If you remember that, maybe it will be easy for you to remember. But whatever your own way, you can remember by your own way. You have to know a technique so that you remember this. So usually, although it came here the getter method first, it came here ascending order, alphabetical ascending order, but in our program we need to use the setter method first, because we want to use the setter method in order to set a value, right? First we want to set a value, then we need to get that value. We can get that value. Okay. So when we in our program, actual program, when we have to use setter method first. How do we use setter method first? You see that name is showing an error because my name field is over here. So instead of using this way, like public way, I need to use this way. I need to use this way. This way is, you see that whenever I say D1, then type in dot, and then it is showing me all of the fields or D1. Then if I see set, set, then it is showing me set name. You see the set method is that set name method. It takes a string type name and it returns a void and it is defined in dot class, right? So as soon as I select, click here, I am asking to give a name, string type name. So whatever name I see, I gave. Let's see. This name will be set as my name field. Okay, this is, for instance, I am accessing or setting up the private field securely. Once our field was public, then we were able to do this way. This is not a concept for object-oriented programming to handle private data. So similarly, we need to do this way. Maybe there are other cases for Tom. How can I select Tom? Help me, someone, please. How do I select name? How do I set name for D2? Dot set name, n is in uppercase, and within parentheses I will put name Tom. Then it's fine, right? And I have one more. So here Macy dot set name by Macy. Okay, and I have one more dot set. So one thing that I'm telling you that we need to use the setter method first. The setup value. When we set up values, then we can use the getter method. Screen is frozen. Maybe from next time I will try to use directly my computer hookup. Okay, you got it. So then it is showing an error. So right, for instance, this is why I cannot even display the name directly. So what do I need to use here? Can anyone please help me? Yes. No, we already set here. We already set here, okay? Displaying. For display, okay, you see that you cannot use set name over here. Dot set name. Maybe Jerry cannot use. So within a print method, I can use something that returns a value. You know that getter method returns a value, right? So I say get name, and then get name, and then getter method does not take any argument. So I need to, and it is happy. So this is the concept of accessing private data in object-oriented programming, right? Accessing private data through secure channel, like as we do in our real life. We pass our private information, secure information in a secure manner, right? So what we use getter method and setter method. We use setter method to set value, and we use getter method to get value. method sets value and getter method gets value. Okay, getter method returns a value, but setter does not return a value. But so likely it's easier. Okay, so now if I want to set up is trained, for instance. Okay, one for getter and setter, you can use getter and setter all for public protected members. If you use getter and setter, that will be used for private and protected. So if, for instance, if we say my same way, whatever do, we right click and then source and then generate getter and setter. So remember that wherever is your cursor here, and that place you will get your newly generated. So when you use Eclipse or this kind of IDE, it is easy to generate getter. But if you use Replit or other text editor, you may not get this feature. Okay, you have to manually write your getter and setter. But once you learn the sorry structure of a getter and setter method, then you can easily do that, right? But set train, why it is taking a boolean? Because my training is boolean, right? It is taking a boolean, and this dot is trained equal to is trained. And then anyone has any questions so far? Yes. Yes. Okay, for C sharp, for C sharp. Okay, for C plus and C sharp, we use same way to set up getter and setter. I'm going through for C plus plus and C sharp, but let us finish with Java. Anyone taking Java lab has? Okay, for taking people for the next 3 minutes. Okay, and people relax for the next 3 minutes. Okay. So okay, got it. So in C sharp, we can use same getter and setter method using similar way. Or in C sharp, there is shortcut way. You can generate using, okay, for instance, let us do it for A's. Okay, for name, we have already getter and setter. So whatever you want to do select that field and do a right click, and you say quick and refactoring. Select it, and then it is showing that encapsulates field age and use property. And there is another option, encapsulate age but still use field. Okay, C# is little bit different than Java. Sometimes there is a called field and then attributes. So let me make it the second one. What is that called? Is right? We select. You see that it generated this one. It generated this one, and at this point we will use this as A in uppercase field. Okay, so here in our program, what we will do, so we got A is in uppercase. You see that this is showing an error. So what is that? We should use A in uppercase. We should, where is the error is coming here? We should, so A in C#, a little bit different. So as I selected this one, and then here, another one here, right? Yes, then if I run this program, so it generates this. How does it makes larger? Okay, it generates float age, and it says get whatever value we see. You see that equal then greater than sign age, and then set equal is implies sign equal and greater than age equal to value. Okay, so this is a shortcut way for C#, but you can still use as usual Java fashion. And also there is a more shortcut way. For instance, like this. For instance, color like this. This is used. This more shortcut way is used for developing web-based application. If you want to hook up C# program with a web-based application using HTML or JavaScript, then we use this way: public string color, and then only instead of giving semicolon over here, we use this methods. Type get and then semicolon and semicolon. Attention, give that there is no semicolon after color over here. Okay. This is for C#, and for C, people who are taking C++, give attention for the next 2 minutes, please. So, dog class example 1 CPP. How many of are you taking C++ lab? Okay, it's good number. Please give attention. Here, in C++, the difference is that one of the things that in order to make private or public, we need to use this keyword public and then followed by colon, right? We need to give colon. Okay, and for instance, if we want to make getter and setter for name field, okay, we can use exactly same way, same getter and setter, but we need to use public and then colon. For getter and setter is exactly same way, public colon, like void set name string name. And the difference is here, instead of this dot in Java and C#, we use dot operator over here. But for C++, you need to give arrow sign, minus and then greater than sign. Together there is no space in between. This is a little bit different in C++. Okay, my code is on GitHub. So if you go to, sorry, on Replit, if you go to Replit and then go to my account and then search for doc class example 1 CPP, you will get my code. Okay, and then within the program, we can use in same manner. Dot set name equal to ESC, whatever name I set, same manner. And if you want to display name, then instead of name over here, we can say get name. So it should work. So this one, ESC. Anyone has any question? So whatever we learn how to set up getter and setter for accessing private members of a field, okay? Accessing private members of a class should be accessed using getter and setter, not directly. Okay? It violates the principles of object-oriented programming. Goal to develop object-oriented programming in real-life fashion. In real life, we handle our private data securely, right? In secure manner. We do not expose it publicly. So the way that whenever we use dot operator directly, you said G6 or whatever my object is dot color, this is a public way. It can be done only for field that is public, but for this name, for the field that is private, cannot be or should not be accessed directly. So we should use getter and setter to access private members. If you set up getter, if you have getter and setter, then you can access both private and protected and public members. So we are not discussing protected right now. Protected is understandable when we discuss inheritance. We are not discussing inheritance right now. So we discuss how to access default members and then how to access private and public members. Anyone has any questions so far? Yes. I don't understand your questions. What, tell me again that. What is your question? Why did I select private instead of public, right? Okay, for instance, if I have a field for my dog, I think that for my dog has a social security number. Although dog does not have a social security number, right? Think about if we have a social security number for my dog. So do you like to expose this publicly? No, right? In that case, we should make it private. And in order to access social security number, okay, another way, a private member is only within class. But here you see that I have my dog class, but I am using my class in another class, main dog main class. Okay. So in order to, you have a question? Okay. Anyone has any question? How many minutes I do have? 9 minutes? Okay. Let me say a joke. Okay. Okay, a man, he went to a doctor and the doctor gave him some medication and prescription. After like 3 months or 6 months, the man went to the doctor again for another visit. The doctor said, okay, now you're good. Now you can walk through your stairway. Okay, now you can walk through your stairway. The man has a heart condition, heart trouble. Okay, thanking the doctor. Okay, doctor, thank you so much, because for the last 3 months I was doing so hard. It was very difficult for me to get into my breathing through pipe. Because the reason that when the doctor told him don't through your stairway, doctor meant that he needs to use elevator or something, right? But the person, what he did, he used pipe instead of water, using a stairway, because doctor asked him not to use stairway. Pipe, second floor. Okay. So I asked you not to open your device. So some of you are getting hard time to open it secretly. Now you're open. You can open your device, okay? Now let us think for the next 5 minutes. I want to review. Let us see whatever we have covered so far from our slide. Okay, if you don't like, then you can leave silently, please. You don't need, you can leave. We have 2 more important topics we need to discuss. Then from next 2 lecture, we will start reviewing old test questions. Okay. Okay, for the next 5 minutes, I will review the slides, whatever we have left. We know that class and object are 2 main features of object-oriented programming language. So what is a class? A class is a user-defined data type that contains some variables and some functions in order to access those variables. A class is a template or a print of an object. When we create a class, we can create as many numbers of object, right? How do we create an object? We know that first one, how do we create a class? We use keyword in order to use a class. In most languages like C++ and Java, we use class. Then, by the way, the convention is that you will write your class name starting with an uppercase letter. As usually when we write on start with an uppercase letter, right? Name, last name and last name. So in C++ and Java, a class starts opening brace and it closes with a closing brace. Okay, but some languages like C++, we need to give an ending semicolon at the end of the class. Okay, and what is an object? An object is an instance of a class. Okay, an object contains the actual features and actions of a class. Okay, so a class contains some variables that we call attributes or field, and some methods that we call behavior or action or methods. Okay, so for instance, if a class, this is a class, maybe bank account class. So bank account class, maybe owner name, balance. These are the state or feature, and these are the behavior or action. Deposit, withdraw. How do we know that this is an action or behavior? We see method. Whenever we see a parenthesis, then this is the method. Yeah? And whenever if John has an account number with some balance, then John is an object. That means an account holder. Okay, we discuss how to create a dog class with some fields and behavior. Okay, this is the creation of dog class. Then this is more, and we Constructor. What is a constructor? A constructor is a special type of method of a class, right? That has exactly same name of its class name, that is used to instantiate or assign values to for the object when you create a constructor is called at the time when we create an object, not later. Yeah. So a constructor has some restriction. A constructor needs to be exactly same name of its class name, right? A constructor cannot have a return type. A constructor cannot return a value. These are the some I discussed. A class can contain multiple constructors. Okay, those constructors will be different in terms of their parameter name, parameter type. So here, which one is the constructor? Dog. You see that method? Exactly same name of its class. It is says dog is in dog lowercase. Then this dog is a method. It's not a constructor. Okay, we discussed this, and something is called driver method. Actually, in some languages, it's called driver method, or some languages called main method. Okay, the main class or the driver class, actually the class where we are creating object, called the driver class. Okay, driver is main method or driver method. This main class where it have main method. Within main method, we are creating object. Usually, the main method is called the driver method. So what happens when we create an object? When you use new operator, okay. Next time I will tell you a story. Not today. I don't have time. So when we maybe I'm skipping. So when you use new operator, then we can assign values to the instance for each of the attributes. Yeah. We discuss. Okay, and this is same. Therefore, C++ and Java, C# and Java. Okay, dot operator. We use dot operator what for to access objects features, right? We say D1 dog name. Yeah. Okay, in C++, there are some different techniques. Okay, people who are taking C++ lab, please stay for the next I need 3 minutes for you, and other people you can stay or you can please leave silently. Thank you so much. Okay, how many of are you taking C++ lab? 1, 2, you're taking C++? Okay, give attention, please. Are you taking C++ lab? Yes, have a seat over there. Give me 3 minutes. Okay, in C++, there is a different strategy or different convention. You see enterprise, very large application. In Java, you see that in Java, maybe in Java and C#, you have noticed that I created a maybe dog class file, and I created a main file. In the dog class file, I just declared my dog class, and I also declared all of the methods for dog class within one file. But the convention is a little bit different in C++. In C++, we usually call a header file. We create a header file. In that header file, actually all classes are declared. wall classes template. A class is a template, right? But classes template is declared in shortcut. For instance, in C++, for the dog class, we will have a dog.h header file. In the header file, we will have only this part. It will have only the dog class name, and it will have the what are the attributes of this class, and it will have the signature of the methods. It will tell us that it will have a constructor, and it will have a method, it method, and it will have another method called, and it will not tell in detail what the it method will be doing or how the constructor will be working. It will not tell in detail. As the header file will have the shortcut of my class name in C++ format. Then there will be another file, the dog.cpp. That class we will have the actual description of the methods. Okay. For instance, here you see that dog, there is two frozen. Delayed, maybe it will come up. So there will be another cpp dog.cpp class file where the actual description of the methods will be there. Okay, so there will be another dog.cpp class. There the actual description of the methods will be. Here is a dog : this : is called scope operator. This scope operator means that this dog method is defined within dog class. So in C++, a header file can contain multiple classes. A header file can contain multiple classes, and in the dog.cpp, usually that will have this specification. It will tell us that this dog constructor is defined within dog class. This is called scope operator. Java does not have this scope operator. C# does not have this scope operator. And similarly likely this. And at the end, there will be another method, for instance, main.cpp. There will be main method over there, and we will create constructor object. In C++, give attention that we use new operator differently if we use pointer. This is a pointer sign, okay? Star is the pointer sign. So for C++, this is a different strategy. Either you can use dog d1 and then this constructor. For this case, we do not need to use any explicit new operator. But if you want to use new operator, then we need to use pointer version. Okay, so remember this difference for C++. Thank you so much.